Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on Vedic astrology. And today we'll be talking about the planet Rahu and its associated gemstone, Gomedha, as it's called in Sanskrit, and its English name is a Hessonite Garnet. So, before we get into discussing how you can use Hessonite Garnet or Gomedha to enhance your luck, first understand its relationship with the planet Rahu and what Rahu is exactly. So of course we all know about the story of Rahu. I don't want to go into detail once again how Rahu came into existence. He came into existence because there was a demon called Swarabhanu who wanted to drink the nectar of immortality, which came out of the ocean when the ocean was churned, and the churning was done by both the Devatas and the Asuras, meaning which the gods and the anti-gods. And as a result of the churning of the ocean, several goodies came out, and both the gods and the demons, or the anti-gods as you may call it, they wanted this nectar of immortality because that would make them immortal, which also was to come out from the ocean. They were all waiting for it, and as soon as the Amrita, as it's called in Sanskrit, or a nectar of immortality came out, then there was a war which started between the demons and the gods, because both of them wanted it for themselves, because whichever group drank the nectar of immortality would become immortal and then would be invincible, could not be defeated in war. So there was a war which ensued, and in that war the demons got a hold of that little bottle, as you could say, kalasha it's called in Sanskrit. So they got a hold of this amrita or nectar of immortality in between when they were fighting the war, and they got a hold of it and they ran with it. And then of course Lord Vishnu came in as Mohini, and he tricked Mohini tricked rather, who was actually Lord Vishnu. She tricked the demons by using the power of her attraction, that she will be the one who will distribute the nectar of immortality equally between the gods and the demons, and they agreed. But there was one demon who understood that this was God's plan, this was Vishnu's plan, where he was giving alcohol to the demons who were sitting in one line, and he was giving the nectar of immortality to the gods who were sitting in the other line. So this demon Swarabhanu came to know about this plan of Lord Vishnu, who was disguised as, or who appeared as Mohini, and hypnotized everybody and made them agree to sit on a line. They created a line for the demons and the gods separately, so that Mohini could distribute the nectar of immortality. So Swarabhanu knew that it was not the nectar of immortality which was being given to the demons, and he slowly, and that's what explains the sharpness of the Rahu brain starting from that, so please make a note of that. Swarabhanu came in and sat in between the gods, and he got the nectar of immortality because he disguised himself as a god itself, and he got the nectar of immortality from Mohini. And then of course sun and moon, the gods, recognized him somehow, and they alerted Mohini, who was Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu appeared in his form, and he cut off Swarabhanu's head. And but then by that time it was too late. The nectar of immortality had already entered the body of Swarabhanu. So the head of Swarabhanu became Rahu, and the tail of Swarabhanu became Ketu, because Vishnu in his form threw Swarabhanu's head in one direction and threw Swarabhanu's body in the opposite direction. And that's the reason why in our birth charts Rahu and Ketu are exactly opposite to each other. They are exactly 180 degrees. But then, like I said, by that time they had already consumed the nectar of immortality, so Rahu and Ketu became immortal, but at the same time they became sworn enemies of Moon and Sun, who had alerted Lord Vishnu that it is a demon who has disguised the form of the god and who's sitting with the gods, and he is going to be taking or drinking the Amrita, or the nectar of immortality, because of which Swarabhanu's head was cut into two parts. Oh, his body was cut into two parts, and head was thrown in one direction and the tail was thrown in the other direction. And as a result of which, whenever there's an eclipse, the eclipses occur because of this phenomena. There's this belief that Rahu and Ketu are sworn enemies of Sun and Moon. So eclipse occurs when Rahu and Ketu swallow Sun and Moon, and then we know what happens in an eclipse. And then not only on a physical plane the eclipses occur, but because of that eclipse we all have to go through the pains of the eclipse, because Sun and Moon and their eclipses lose their power, and we all are influenced by Sun and Moon, as we know. We all have the placement of Sun and Moon, as we know. Sun and Moon form a very important part of this universe, and when they lose their power, then of course all kinds of ill effects are seen in our lives. So this was a little recap of how Rahu was created. And Rahu, as I've discussed in my earlier videos as well, was that it's about the mind, the brain, because it's the head of the demon, or the Rakshasa as it's called in Sanskrit. And that's why Rahu which is associated with psychology, because it uses the power of his mind all the time, the sharpness of his mind. But then he doesn't use it for sattvic purposes, he uses for tamasic purposes. And people who are not familiar with sattvic, rajasic and tamasic, please refer to my earlier videos. And Rahu also, is excellent in knowing different languages, once again because he's a master planet, because it's a shadow planet. He's a master planet of disguise. So that's what Rahu excels in, and that's why it can disguise itself, it can speak different languages, it's good in that, and it's good for all kinds of speculation. But at the same time, in people's birth chart where Rahu is ill placed, it can give all kinds of problems related to psychology, because it's about the mind, about languages, understanding languages, intelligence, speculation. If Rahu is badly placed in your birth chart, it gives you all kinds of problems in case you get into some kind of a speculative business, or if you do speculation. Generally, as a career, people with a strong Rahu in their birth charts are seen to be selling meats, because meat trading is also one of the professions which Rahu excels in. They can be good scrap dealers. And Rahu is a place, or is a planet who's not very clean. He is a place where it's all kinds of scrap and untidy things. So wherever you see untidy and unorganized stuff, you see an influence of Rahu there. And alcohol is also associated with Rahu. The manufacture of alcohol is associated with Rahu. So people in whose birth chart Rahu is badly placed, alcohol can be very, very harmful to them. It is also in charge. Rahu is in charge of crematorium grounds where they burn their dead. So that's an area which is given to Rahu, and also where they keep the dead in the hospitals. So Rahu is a really first-class malefic planet, and if it's badly placed in somebody's chart, it can create havoc. And why we are talking about, it's also directly associated with tantra, mantra. Once again, people whose Rahu is badly placed can be influenced by tantric attacks, magical mantras, and I have mentioned, I think, in my previous videos that Rahu is associated with foreign languages also, and especially the Arabic and the Middle Eastern languages. And why, I can have another video on that. Let's not discuss it here. But I've just discussed as to when Rahu is badly placed, what kind of problems it can give you. It can give all kinds of problems related to the body, wherever it's placed, based on the Kala Purusha's zodiac sign. As you can see, wherever Rahu is placed, it's a first-class malefic. It can, and of course, if Rahu is placed well, it can give you good benefits as well. So the reason why I'm getting into this is because we have to understand as to, in case Rahu is badly placed in your birth chart, there are remedial measures, and one of the remedial measure is to use the power of a Hessonite Garnet, as you can see on the screen, or a Gomeda, as you can see on the screen, very effectively. Or if it's well placed, you can use the power of the Gomeda or the Hessonite Garnet to enhance its power to give you good results. So, and there are different opinions by different astrologers on this. Some astrologers use the method of enhancing the power of Rahu when it's well placed, and some astrologers use the power of Gomeda or Hessonite Garnet to remove the bad effects of a badly placed Rahu, and it's giving all kinds of problems in the significations which I've just mentioned to you, in what areas it excels in, and also certain body parts are ruled by Rahu, although not directly. But Rahu, as we know, is very closely connected with Saturn. It's said as a belief in the Vedic astrology system that Shanivat Rahu. So because of its connection with Saturn, it can give you bad effects related to, in case it's badly placed, it can give you bad effects in the houses and the body parts which are directly related to Saturn. So you have to be very careful. Plus, of course, there is the dispositor system as to what's Rahu's dispositor. So in those areas, it can give you all kinds of problems. So like I said, there are two ways: the Anukula way of prescribing gemstones and the Pratikula way of describing gemstones. The Anukula way, like I mentioned, is astrologers use the power of Hessonite to increase the power of Rahu if it's well placed and it's giving good results in somebody's chart. And the Pratikula way is that in case Rahu is badly placed and it's giving bad results related to where its placement is and what the dispositor is and its connection with Saturn and how Saturn is placed in the birth chart, what areas of your life Saturn rules, and if it's badly placed, those will be affected. Then Pratikula way means, some astrologers use the power of Hessonite Garnet to remove those afflictions and bad effects of Rahu. Now, gemstones, I've already discussed that in my earlier videos also, were not a part of our remedial measures as given to us by the ancient sages. Gemstones came into existence. The ancient sages talked about, doing pujas and mantras and yagyas and homas for appeasement of planets, and even increasing the power of the good effects of planets, and going to various gods who are connected with these planets. But and that was, I'm talking about ancient sages like Sage Parashara, Sage Phregu, Sage Atri, Sage Jaimini, Sage Gautama, in those days and ages. But the recent astrologers and Vedic astrology scholars say about 100, not 100, but 1,000 to 1,500 years ago, they realized that you can use the power of gemstones to appease the bad effects of planets, or appease planets if they are giving bad effects, and also to enhance the good effects of planets. And there are various ways and methods that astrologers use. Some use it based on the ascendant you have as per your birth chart, some use it as per your moon sign, some use it as per the nakshatra where you were born in, and based on the rulership of the nakshatra. So there are various methods, and I'm not going to go and argue in favor of or against any such method of prescribing gemstones. All I can say is that you should go to a qualified Vedic astrologer who can prescribe the right gemstones for you, and in case it suits you, then of course, you know, many of those problems, afflictions caused by those planets can be removed. So in this case, if Rahu is badly placed, you can go to a birth chart and see if you can use a Hessonite Garnet. And if Rahu is well placed and you want to enhance the power of Rahu, then again, you know, there are certain astrologers who would recommend you Rahu gemstone, which is a Hessonite Garnet. So that's something which you have to choose yourself as to. And just a little bit of warning that in case Rahu or Hessonite Garnet rather does not suit you, it can create havoc in your life, because it's a first-rate malefic planet and it can give all kinds of malefic effects, like I said, based on where it's placed, what the dispositor is, what the connection is with the other planets, and of course its connection is already confirmed and established with the planet Saturn, what house of Saturn is ruling, and where Saturn is placed, so on and so forth. So how to choose a Rahu gemstones, that's what we'll discuss now, as to how to choose a good quality Hessonite Garnet. And it's been mentioned in the scriptures, which are, of course, I discussed the use of gemstones has been pretty recent. So the recent scriptures have mentioned that the color is to be very important. The color of a Hessonite Garnet, you see that on the screen, this is a Hessonite Garnet. Its color is pretty dark chocolate or dark brownish in color. However, ideally it should be a little lighter than that, and Gomedha, that's the name, and Gomedha means the color of the urine of a cow, which is slightly lighter than this. So that's an ideal gemstone, if you can get a gemstone which is the color of the urine of a cow, or a light honeyish color. This on the screen, this is also good. It's a little darker though. And as far as its chemical composition is concerned, it's a silicate of zirconium, natural zirconium, not the one which you see cubic zirconia. It's a silicate of the natural zirconium, and natural zirconium comes in various colors. Nature has given it different colors when it appears in nature, not the manufactured one or prepared in the laboratory. So natural zirconium comes in a range of colors and could be found in red, blue, green, yellow, orange, and brown. So the one which is brown, that's the one which is Gomedha or the Hessonite Garnet. Okay, the other ones can be used for other planets. So as the color of the natural zirconium changes, like for example, a colorless natural zirconium can be used as a substitute for diamond. A green natural zirconium can be used as a substitute for a green emerald. So as the colors change, the relationship with the planet also changes. So the brown shade of a zirconium, a silicate of the zirconium, is the Gomedha or the Hessonite Garnet. So color is extremely important, and of course the best Gomedhas or Hessonite Garnets, they come from Sri Lanka. That's the place where you can get real good quality Gomedhas or Hessonite Garnets. The second quality comes from India, which is found to be a little orangish brownish shade, and that comes from southern India, and Orissa is the state where it comes from. And then in North India, in Bihar also, you can find Gomedhas which are pretty dark chocolatey and sometimes translucent and sometimes opaque as well. So those are the lowest quality gemstones which you can find, lowest quality Hessonite garnets which you can find and use for the purposes of, you know, using it for remedial measures as far as Rahu is concerned. So look for a transparent gemstone which has good luster and has good cut, which good luster and good transparency with minimum inclusions can be found in Sri Lanka, and that's the color, and that's what you see on the screen. It's not exactly the cow's urine's color, it's a little darker, but that's the one which you see on the screen. That's a Sri Lankan one, and which is considered to be the best as far as giving effects are concerned, which the effects meaning which can be used for taking care of Rahu problems or enhancing the power of Rahu, either ways. So a pure and transparent Hessonite has a good brilliance, luster, and it neutralizes the ill effects of Rahu, and it gives beneficial results if it's well placed, and it removes all kinds of fears, because Rahu also gives all kinds of fears. That's another thing which Rahu is associated with. So it takes away your confidence, and that's why Rahu and people who do not have the confidence, that's one area where Rahu excels in if it's not well placed. Clarity of mind, it just clouds your mind. Rahu clouds your mind in case it's not well placed, and it does not help you to attain spiritual growth because it hates spirituality. It's all about tamasic, darkness, ignorance. And of course spirituality is mostly clarity, which is clarity of the mind, which is directly related to the planet Jupiter. It hates Jupiter, and Jupiter hates Rahu. Both don't like each other because Rahu is about ignorance and Jupiter is about pure knowledge. So all these effects, bad effects of Rahu, can be taken, once again, you know, a little, you know, warning here, that a disclaimer here, that please do not go and experiment it yourself, because in case it does not suit you, it can create havoc. So go to a good qualified astrologer, Vedic astrologer, who will be able to determine if Hessonite Garnet or Gomeda is the best gemstone for you or not. So well, like I said, you know, color should be, you know, ideally clear urine of a cow, should be transparent, and should have a good feel, brilliant, and the color should be very uniform. You know, it shouldn't be as if it's dark on one side and you know, a little lighter on the other sides. The surface should be even, should be well cut, and the size generally 5 to 7 carats or higher until 10 carats. That's the ideal size. You should ideally wear it on a Saturday, or some astrologers even say wear it on a Wednesday, and then ideally it should be worn in a mixed, it should be created or should be placed or set in a ring of ashtadhatu, or mixed metals, or of 8 metals. If not, you know, an 18 karat gold, some astrologers say also work. Some astrologers, okay, we're using it or setting it on a silver ring as well, because you know, silver sometimes, although it's more moon, but some astrologers consider silver to be Venus as well. Rahu is a friend of Venus, and ideally it should be worn on the middle finger, which is the longest finger, the finger of Saturn, and it should be worn while chanting of mantras. Some people take a yantra of Rahu also, and while wearing it, you know, they dip it in unboiled milk and then wash it and then chant mantras of Rahu. And some people, like I said, use the yantra of Rahu and do pujas. But if you cannot do it, don't make a big deal about this. You know, wear it ideally, buy it ideally on a Saturday. If you cannot buy it on a Saturday, get it set and wear it on a Saturday at least. and it should be done during dark hours because Rahu is a planet of darkness. Avoid wearing it during the day, and then once you wear it on a Saturday night, that should be good enough. And if you want to look at what the Rahu Kal is during that day, there's a Rahu Kal. Ideally wear it on that day. And any kind of dull gemstones related to Rahu or a Hessonite Garnet which is dull should be completely avoided. There are some which will have white spots. Please do not wear ones which have white spots. It's not good at all. Gives all kinds of sickness. That's what it's believed. Black spots inclusions, very bad, as far as marital happiness is concerned. Red spot, extremely bad. Very bad for one's longevity, and also bad for one's progeny as well. So sometimes what happens is, if Rahu is well placed in your birth chart, and it can give you good effects, and if you wear a bad gemstone, it's going to start giving you negative results as well. And sometimes, if Rahu can be used, or Hessonite Garnet can be used effectively for taking care of Rahu problems, and if the gemstone is of bad quality, instead of removing those problems, it can increase those problems as well. So make sure the color is uniform, all these qualities, and should be worn in the right carat, right size, ideally 5 to 7 and above until 10 carats, and the right day and night time doing pujas, and after doing the basic rituals like dipping it in unboiled milk and washing it, or if somebody have access to Ganges water, that's even better. Wash it in Ganges water and wear it. So this was a little discussion about Rahu and its associated gemstone, Hessonite Garnet, and hopefully you did enjoy it. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.